What's up, my ninjas? I'm Strydent, and I am back finally with my Marvel Select Colossus review. I'm just going to jump into it. Straight up, this is easily the best Colossus figure ever produced by anybody, anywhere, period. Articulation-wise, he has exactly the right amount of articulation. You can put him in the proper kind of strongman poses, and it's got the kind of dynamic angles and shifts to help make him look as awesome as he looks, on the printed page. Because, I mean, he's a big guy. He shouldn't be lanky and wobbly and weak joints. They need to be very stiff, very strong joints, because he's a strong character. He should be able to hold whatever pose you put him in, and this figure can do that to a T. And one of the main things that I like about this figure is it is kind of heavy, and he feels like he could go toe-to-toe with the Marvel Select Juggernaut. Now, as you can see, he's very tall. They did a good job giving him the height, because in the old days, Colossus actually grew when he turned into his armor form. This figure looks like, kind of like if you think back to the old X-Men, Pride of the X-Men cartoon, he's got that feel, because this is the classic look for Colossus. The paint is masterfully done. The sculpting is even more masterfully done, but the thing I love the most is the scale. You remember I told you he was tall? This thing kicks the shit out of that garbage Marvel Legends figure. This is a true Marvel Legend. I mean, the Marvel Legends one had too many joints. Sometimes he couldn't stand up. These pictures I took, right after I freaking clipped my picture, or clicked the shutter, that Colossus fell down. He was slack, out of the package. He had way too many joints. You can see that the proportions are done better on the Marvel Select figure, because not only is he a bigger guy and taller guy, they got the muscle to look right for the size. They didn't just slap a lot of weight and a lot of bulk onto this figure. They made sure that he was he looks like he built up the muscle, and it's in proportion to his height. And I dig that. I mean, look at those muscles. There's no reason why a smaller figure should have muscles the same size as the bigger figure. It's just too much muscle. It almost feels like Liefield's art versus Jim Lee's art. You can see what they were trying to do, even when you're looking at the little halos around all the muscles and parts of his body. I mean, Colossus doesn't have halos everywhere. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, the halos are the lines around his various armored parts. They overdid it for the Marvel Legends version, and I guess for the time it worked, because we didn't really have a better version. But when you look at this figure now, in comparison to this one, and we've had other Colossuses before from, Hasbro's Marvel Legends, this one just easily kicks the shit out of all of them. He's got the nice shine to him. His face actually looks like a human being. He doesn't look like a steel statue of some sort, even though Colossus is a very statuesque character. Posability. There's really not too much that the Marvel Select Colossus can't do that the Marvel Legends Colossus can do. I mean, just about every pose, as you can see, he can emulate it, and it looks a little bit more natural with the Marvel Legends Colossus. And one big thing about the two, or difference with the two, is that the Marvel Select Colossus's head and neck movement he's got a better range than the Marvel Legends Colossus. And I just dig it. I was looking through my old X-Men #1s and whatnot, and I just felt that old school vibe, I don't know. I'm geeked about having this figure. My homeboy Johnny Shoulders, he asked me to review this figure, and I had to let him know it's on the way. I've been kind of busy lately. My wife is pregnant, so these reviews are gonna be coming a little bit slower. But like I said, I had him. I needed to get to him. I've got Gambit on the way, got some others on the way, but like I said, back to the review. This figure is the shit. I mean, you see what the difference is with the poses. The Marvel Legends Colossus kind of feels more stylized. He doesn't feel as much of a representation, a comic book representation, a proper comic book representation in the figure form. It feels almost like an approximation of the character. Like, this is pretty much Colossus. Look at that big chunk taken out of his elbow. You know, looking up, you can see you can put the Marvel Select figure in better poses, and it's weird because a lot of reviewers, they shit on Marvel Select and they focus on posability when doing a review. And honestly, most Marvel Select figures before this, the posability was not even what you should be worried about when you buy it. You buy it for superior sculpt and superior paint. In this case, they managed to kind of mix the two, or fuse the two, so you really kind of have a good balance between posability and sculpt. And I really dig that. I mean, somebody was thinking. Here he is in comparison to other figures, including the Marvel Select Gambit, which I will be reviewing soon. Same with Aqualad, Green Arrow, and Stripe. But as you can see, he kind of stands about the same height as a Collect and Connect figure. This makes him easily something you need because, like I've said before, Marvel big people, or every team back in the day on Marvel, on Image, they always have that big guy, and he needs to tower over the other characters. I mean, this Colossus looks like he can even take on the Marvel Select Hulk, the regular Hulk, not the one from the Avengers, which I'm eventually going to get. But this guy is a must-have. If you like the X-Men, if you like the old days, if you just like Colossus, if you like big muscular characters, you need this character. They didn't overdo anything. They didn't underplay anything. It's the perfect balance of figure form, function, figure details, figure nuances, everything. From almost every angle, this figure looks perfect. I mean, just look at it. His knuckles. I was playing with him, so you can see he's got some marks, making him in Juggernaut fight. But I mean, you would really have to have issues to believe that the Marvel Legends version was better. And it's weird because I was starting to come to this conclusion when looking back at these figures. Okay, you see how dirty and grimy that Colossus looks? And I know a lot of customizers think that this is the better way to do things, but it's not. It doesn't, faking the shadows by just grimy wash on top of everything, it doesn't really do it. You can do a subtle wash like you see on the costume for the character, and it actually does add depth, because if it's well sculpted, light will hit parts of it and shadow will be created in the crevices and the different spots on the other parts of the body. Now, if you look at this one, his body seems flat, and then his face has too much dimension because of the wash. Now, it should have been flipped because he's a shiny character. These are little details that whenever people do their reviews about Marvel Legends, it always pisses me off because people just give Marvel Legends a pass because of all this articulation. Why would Colossus need posable hands? There's not much that you do with Colossus, so get that motherfucker out of here. He takes the L, and you've got your perfect Colossus here. I mean, yes, there are things you can do with some of the articulation in the hands and things like that, but you don't really need it. You need fists, because that's what Colossus does. He bashes the shit out of things because he's got his superhuman strength. And you could put his arms up to hold things so that it doesn't look strange, you know what I mean? So that he doesn't look out of place when doing certain things. So, like I said, if your taste has grown up over the years and Marvel Legends doesn't really do it for you anymore, this is where it's at. You need to get you a Marvel Select Colossus. He's not going for a very high price these days. He's about 20 bucks, maybe 22 bucks at different retailers. I picked mine up at my comic book store for about 20 bucks. He's well worth the money. He's a very heavy figure, so you're getting a figure that if it falls off the shelf, it's not going to break. I mean, unless it's a very high shelf. And I wouldn't advise that you just drop him off of a high place like that, because, I mean, it is a figure. But as you can see, he is a quality figure. And to the Marvel Legends Colossus, we're going to have to say no. You just don't do it anymore. This guy is where it's at. Posability, everything else, this guy is perfect. There's not really much else to say. I have no complaints with him. He does come with a base. It's kind of, I don't know, if you saw Pride of the X-Men, you would know what the base is for. It's a Danger Room accessory. I'm not focusing on that when the figure is this awesome. So, as I've said before, this guy is an A++. No, he's an S class. Pick him up by all means. I am Strydent. That's my story. I'm out. Peace.